Hello everyone, it's Christina. I hope you are all doing well. I am a few days late getting my what are we doing? In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day, chapter 1 and 2. I like this book so far. There's a lot of content in this. And I've already tried to record this one time, and it seemed as if my notes were all over the place, even though I took notes in the order I was reading. So I'm going to try to condense this down and do more of a summary of the book. I wasn't reading it, but it just seemed scattery for some reason. So I wanted to show you my title page, and I wrote this question from the back. This specific book had a lot of reviews on the back, and I didn't really think that those fit, so I chose this question, and this is the table of contents. And so far, I am just writing. This is, the first page, actually. So that's pretty much what I have for the chapter so far. There's not any varying layouts or anything yet. Who knows what's in store. So basically, Mark Batterson, who is the author of this book, he has been able to reframe a few of the scriptures in the book of 2 Samuel, which is in the Old Testament in the Bible. And again, just as a reminder, this book is Christian viewpoint. It's about God, okay? But there are a lot of concepts in this book that you can still apply. So I hope that you'll continue listening, because there's a whole lot of good stuff. So basically, Benaniah is this man. We don't know a whole lot about the situation that led up to this point, like where he was going in his frame of mind, that type of thing. But he kills a lion. And another time he killed an Egyptian warrior. He took the Egyptian's weapon and killed him with it. How's that for a fight? He was pretty cool. He was pretty powerful, and he served a big God. And I am glad that Mark Batterson decided to write this book and to break these scriptures down that most of us would have skipped right over. And let's see. Oh, that you've encountered some lions, right? You've encountered some 500-pound problems. You have fallen into some pits. Hello. And you've weathered snowy days. Weathered some storms, right? Some snowstorms in our lives. I am going through some things right now that I cannot share with you at the moment. But this book is like an empowering learning tool this book is an inspirational tool that will empower us when we have these huge problems. And Mark talks about being able to find opportunity right in the middle of your biggest problems. Like, what can you grab out of this? What are you trying to learn? Do you see an opportunity anywhere? Even though we have to deal with our problems, obviously, it kind of refocuses us. Like, what can we do with this problem? What are we trying to be, what are we being taught right now? And all of our past experiences, which is, why we learn about history, so that we don't repeat all the bad stuff, and so that we do repeat the good stuff, right? Well, the same thing happens in our own personal lives. You don't want to repeat all your bad stuff, but you do want to repeat your good stuff. So, it talks about how, God uses all those past experiences for all your future opportunities. He's teaching you right now for something that you're going to be going through later. So that we have to stay focused every single day of our lives, because we don't know what we're going to have to encounter in our lives. And he does talk about, taking risk and being able to weather that risk. meaning, dealing with the financial problems, dealing with sleepless nights, falling on your face. Nowhere, and I think that this is a huge misconception in regards to Christianity, nowhere in the Bible does it say that this is going to be easy. Nowhere does it say that. And so, it's going to be hard. And this book is all about like opportunities and risk and being able to be proactive, looking at your situation that you're in right now, and even being proactive in a way that's like getting those skills built up, and so that you'll know what to do when the situation arises. At the end of chapter 1, there is a breakdown. And I didn't know that when I picked this book. But I've already been talking about how I want to be able to do a review of the chapter notes, and then doing a reflection session at the end of that chapter. And lo and behold, this book already has that built in. So at the end of the chapter, you're going to get these takeaway points, as well as kind of like something to think about, or something to pray over, or that type of thing, something to do. So then in chapter 1, he gives you this list, and he's like, hey, which one of these do you think you would, which of these, not one, which of these do you think you would struggle with? And the list is defying odds, facing fears, reframing problems, embracing uncertainty, taking risks, seizing opportunities, and looking foolish. And my two that stuck out to me was reframing problems. Being able to see an opportunity in the middle of a problem. I shouldn't say always, never say always or never, but frequently I will sing the Casting Crowns song, that will praise you in the storm, because when I'm going through something that's really difficult, I really enjoy that song, because that's not a reason to stop praising God just because you're going through something hard. And so I really admire the fact that Mark Batterson, took these few scriptures, just hidden away in the Old Testament, and has written this book that is so inspirational and so empowering to make good out of bad, and to really follow and understand the best that we can how big our God is. And then embracing uncertainty. Embracing is kind of like loving it, like hugging, literally. I don't know. And I don't like to know all of the uncertainty. My problem would probably be the more uncertainty in the longer run, instead of like initial uncertainty. Just like, okay, am I still on the right track here? Like that part would probably get to me a little bit more. Chapter 2 is The Odd Thing About Odds, is the title. And I wrote down some statement points, like actions, things that I could follow. Don't focus on disadvantages. Don't make excuses. Don't avoid situations where the odds are against you. So he just talks about odds. On page 26, they, who are the lion chasers, thrive in the toughest circumstances because they know that impossible odds set the stage for amazing miracles. And he talks about how doing something that no one thinks that you can do is one of the most exhilarating things in the world. And so I thought that was really cool. He asked the question, what comes to your mind when you think about God? And the answer to that for you, your answer will determine who you become, and how you see everything else. That answer. Like if you don't, or, what comes to your mind when you think about God? Maybe for some reason you're an atheist and you don't even believe in God. Well, that answer determines, who you become and how you see everything, like how you live your life, right? So I thought that was really cool. And I think that that's a question worth pondering. Like just take a moment and meditate on that and see what you come up with. How we should stop underestimating God. The more that we grow in our maturity, the bigger our God should be, right? Like, and the smaller our lions will become. It's like, wow. It's pretty cool. Mark also talks about contingency plans. I was like, oh, I'm listening now. Let me read about this. So God has planned for every contingency, which is one of the most mind-boggling truths in scriptures. Just amazes me. He goes on in detail about that. He talks about praying the unthinkable. And I thought, what is that? What would that be? So I'm going to revisit some of these things. I haven't pondered enough of, I'm not done pondering, I should say. I'm not done pondering because it's really cool. In 2 Kings chapter 6, Mark talks about he says this is the most ridiculous prayer. And I was like, what? He's going to actually say that? What is this guy talking about? So this group of prophets are chopping trees near a river. One of their iron axe heads falls into the river. And the prophet says to Elisha, "Alas, master, for it was borrowed." So he just thought, this prophet, he just thought, yeah, it's gone. It fell into the river, whatever. Whatever. It's not going to be able to be retrieved. So we're just going to move on with our day. And iron axe heads don't float. Okay. And Mark goes into the physics of that. And so they prayed a ridiculous prayer. And they prayed that axe head would float. And in, let's see, where is it? 2 Kings 6, chapter 6, verse 6, the iron did swim. So they prayed that axe head would float so that they would be able to find it and retrieve it. And it worked. God made it float. I agreed with Mark, and he's like, it never would have even crossed my mind to pray for that. You would have thought, oh, it's gone. I lost it, And again, Mark, this, Batterson, the author of this book, he takes these scriptures from the Old Testament and writes this whole book that's like crazy insane already. And I'm only a few chapters in. And then like this situation too, like who would have thought to pray for that? And it made me think, like, pray, and Mark does talk about this, like, how big is my God? What can I pray about? What's really big that I could pray about? What's the unthinkable for me? I need to think about that some more. He also talks about the degree of difficulty. So we kind of rank miracles, right? Like a big miracle and a little miracle. Prayer requests, like, oh, that's a small request, or oh, this is something that's really big, right? And so he says, how big is my God? And he talks about how, even that axe head was, something just, that it just fell in the river. It's not a big deal. It was going to be lost, but God still cared about it. And he made that happen. And the other thing that related to planning, actually, that kind of perked my interest, is the scroll of remembrance, and it's in Malachi chapter 3 verse 16, where it's basically the scroll of remembrance is where God is recording all the things that no one sees or notices. And I thought that was really cool. It's like he's scrapbooking our lives, you know. I thought that was really neat. So during that reflection session for chapter 2, how big is my God? Is he big enough to do anything, or are there limits in your mind to what God can do? What can I do today to begin to live with a bigger, better view of God? And I took a moment to kind of try to think, and it was like, I can't even think of anything. Like, usually, I do pray, and I do have prayer requests or whatever, but usually it's like they're so small, like, help me to rest well, help my kids to rest well, please keep us safe, thank you for the finances to buy this food, like, it's so simple. And God cares about the small things too, because when he turned the water to wine because people didn't order enough wine for that wedding reception, that's important to those people, and he cares about that stuff too. But I just thought, what can I do today to begin to live with a bigger, better God, view of God? Not, he's already bigger and better, but a bigger and better view of God. What can I do? So I thought that the very first, these couple chapters were full of questions that I needed to answer for myself. And that's what this reading challenge is all about. Build these tools that we can put into our toolbox to where we have the skills and the knowledge to be able to reframe our problems and see opportunities, and just make things better even when they seem bad. And so I hope that you're reading along. Even if you're not, I hope that you got something here today. I'm hoping that the next chapters will be as good as these couple first chapters were. And I will be sure to link the book and any other of the information for the reading challenge in the description box below. So be sure to check that out. And then I'll see you in the next one. Bye.